How to determine if a house is worth flipping. Today we're going to break down the most essential things to determine if the house is worth flipping. Then we're going to go over some things that are going to help you evaluate it and make sure, hey, are you getting into a project that's maybe over your head, or is it something that you could manage? And then lastly, what we're going to go through is some exit strategies that maybe you didn't think of, just in case what you're planning on doing doesn't work out. How to determine if a house is worth flipping. I've been investing in flipping real estate for over half my life. I'm going to share with you some of the secrets that I follow so you don't have to make the same mistakes others have, or even myself. Whenever I look at buying a house to flip, I also have an exit strategy other than that, and that's, can I rent this out? Or what is another use for this property? So let's talk about structure. When you're looking at the property, you want to be able to buy the property right. That's the number one thing. ARV, or after repair value, this is key because you have to understand what you're buying it for versus what it's worth fixed up. You also need to understand or get your number solid of what it's going to cost to get that property fixed up. You also need to know commissions and holding costs as well, and unforeseen issues. You have to budget that in to your budget. Then you have your profit margin. You have to figure all those things out to understand what even your offer price is. Before I get to our next point and break down our scope, I want you to subscribe to this channel because we're bringing you daily content about real estate investing. Another thing that I look for is if there's too many problems with a house, I don't necessarily want to take it on. This means time and money, and some things are just not fixable. You could get into the wrong type of layout. You could get into properties that were done improperly to begin with. One of the key things when I'm walking a property with an investor and they're showing me what they're going to do, it always comes back to the numbers. Sometimes they make numbers fit what they want to do and they just don't fit. Making sure that you understand the budget, sticking to the budget, and understanding the numbers is essential. Sometimes people are trying to push a limit as far as like what you could get price per square foot when no one else has gotten that in the area. It's just unrealistic. So making sure that you're emotionally detached from the property, and it's not just that you have the deal, because at the end of the day, it's not a deal. Follow the numbers. That's your roadmap to success in real estate investing and fixing and flipping. It's all about the numbers. One of the key things that I look for is how much work is needed to be done on properties. Am I doing additions, or am I in and out, carpet, paint, etc.? These I may look at differently as far as what type of profit margin I'm looking for. If you're just painting carpet and very basic in and out, you could do multiple of those at one time. If you're doing additions and things like that, that takes up a lot of resource and capital, and that could be time consuming and eat away at profits. Things to look for. That falls into timelines. The timeline on these deals you want to stick with, but some projects are just going to take longer. You have to factor in contingencies for things that maybe windows or doors take a little bit longer. Maybe the permit process took a little bit longer. Factor in a little bit of contingencies when you're doing your numbers and your timelines as a buffer. You always have to factor in for a contingency or something to happen. That goes for your budget and it goes for your timeline. So hey, here's the thing. With timelines, you want to make sure that these are working in your favor. How do I do that? I do it simply. I incentivize the people or contractors to finish the job ahead of time. Incentivize them how? Money, of course. Time is money. We could all agree on that, right? So if they get the job done faster and ahead of schedule that we agreed on in paper on a contract, then guess what? I'm going to reward them financially. Guess what else is going to happen? Counter is going to go, if they're over time, they're going to actually cut into their profit margins. You shouldn't be the only one participating. Let's get these guys, everybody, to champion the deal and circle around it and make sure it's finished ahead of time. So it's going to get you on the market faster so you can get that property sold and on to the next one. So you want to have multiple exit strategies anytime that you're going into a property, into a deal. You want to look at like, what's the highest and best use? Obviously, if you're fixing and flipping, that's what you want to do. Sometimes you want to hold these properties. Maybe you're going to do it as a rental. Maybe even as an Airbnb. These are things that you want to calculate and figure out those numbers ahead of time. Know your options. Make sure it pencils as a rental just in case you do get stuck with it if the market turns. Along with rehab costs, there could be things that you're getting into and you need to evaluate these because you could have structural issues where you have to bring in certain companies or specific trade people to do these things like retaining walls. Now you're talking about getting structural engineers involved. You got to factor that stuff in, not just time, but money as well. I have a free gift for you. If you click on the link below, I'm going to go ahead and give you our free 100 ways to find off-market deals. Just click on the link below and it's yours.